A very good morning. I hope I'm audible. Audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
So, a very good morning. Welcome to the session. I will be taking up a small workshop on Madhubani paintings on greeting cards. So, before I start off with the practical session of greeting cards, how the Madhubani painting is done, I would like to take a small walk through Madhubani's history, the various art forms, famous artists who are following or who are promoting Madhubani, designers who are promoting Madhubani painting, and then various art forms. What are the significance of Madhubani painting? What is the color medium which is used? So this is all about. So what does Madhubani really stands for? So if you split the name Madhu and Bani in Hindi or in Sanskrit, Madhu stands for honey and Ban stands for forest or woods. It's actually one. So the pronunciation in Bihari goes Ban. So it is why it is the reason why it is named as Madhubani. So art form originated. Hence, it is also known as Mithila painting. So there is a very enlightening culture that has been followed from uh, many decades, I can say. So that's why you will see me highlighting Mithila painting across my entire presentation. So what does Mithila painting or Madhubani painting have essence in it. So the art form was once, prominently done in the streets and across the walls entirely of Mithila town. So usually women were the one who were doing this art form, and these kind of paintings which were adorned across the entire streets, they came to be known as folk paintings. So folk paintings, they kind of give a aesthetic feeling and they remind us about the native life throughout their colorful line drawings. So you might have come across many videos, many photographs on the social platforms, but there are very few who you can identify and authentically state this as a pure Madhubani or a Mithila painting, I can say. So here's one. So how did Mithila painting actually come into existence? We know the story of Ramayana. So when Ram got married to Sita, the king of that particular kingdom, Janak Maharaj, he had ordered all the artisans, he had gathered all of them, and he had requested them to, uh, you know, paint the entire palace and the pathway everywhere with this particular folk painting. So that is how it became really famous. It was seen across all the walls, pillars, streets, pathways, everywhere. The Madhubani paintings began to be drawn by the artist. So what does this art form really consist of? There are again three different varieties in Madhubani itself. You might have heard about Pattachitra, right? So Pattachitra is one of Madhubani's art form. You will find that Pattachitra, paintings are quite similar with Madhubani, and you often get to confuse with it. So rather, it is a form, and why it is called as Pattachitra? Because it is done on canvas painting. Apart from that, there are two more other types. That is one is Bitti Chitra. So Bitti Chitra is whatever Madhubani paintings are done on the wall, they are called as Bitti Chitra. And the floral painting known as Aripana. Okay, give me a minute. I think it is visible. Okay. A participant has just texted saying me the presentation is not visible. Could you please click on my name and then pin it? You can say fit to frame. Okay, let's continue. So these paintings were generally practiced by all these women folk, and they are exclusively, when they started practicing this over the years, it came to be called as folk paintings, and they created a special committee, and it was known as the School of Folk Paintings. So for now, yes, a few years ago, the School of Folk Painting still exists across the state, and it is usually done by hands. We do not use brushes like we do in modern paintings, but in the earlier days, it was all done with twigs and matchsticks. It was used in a form of a pen, nibs, and the color medium which was used were all mostly natural colors and dyes for coloration. So, there are some classic artists also, and there are some folk artists also. So folk artists and classical artists are, there's a very thin difference between them. Often we don't tend to understand what it is, but folk artists are someone who have developed this art among themselves through decades, and they follow it across any medium. They are not specific that they will be doing it only on one particular area or on one particular um, source or anything like a paper or anything. They can do the folk arts anywhere, on the wall. They can start doing it. They can straight. They have a very free hand and a very uh, flow of all the motives and everything. So they do not require much training, is what I can say. When are the one who has gained enough enthusiasm, they have inculcated this art in them, and then they have started expressing the love for this art through various mediums. Again, they are not specific regarding the classic, whatever mediums they are using. Okay. So this is all about Madhubani and its variations. I shall repeat again. One is Bhatti Chitra, second is Patta Chitra, and third is Aripana. Next, we'll move on to the significance of Methila painting. So, what is Methila painting? Why Madhubani is so famous, or rather, it is very special to few of the folk artists, but not known to many others. Why is that? Or because this Madhubani is a traditional painting of Bihar, so it has been continuously in trend. I can say right from the decade when it started and when the artists started promoting it, and from the villages, from the streets of Mithila, it has now traveled across the entire nation. I can say, and there are some various methods by how they can represent Madhubani. A traditional Madhubani is usually represented with a line or with bold filling. You will never find any, just you will never find any absence or usage of any other mediums apart from geometrical figures or some deities or some animals. So the most common animals that you will see are peacock and fish. That's the most common thing which is used over here. And there are some other abstract like figures also. So as I was mentioning, deities, some humans, there are lines which support the main theme. How and Madhubani can be differentiated from other folk and traditional painting is mainly through the lines. So whenever you find a painting which has very strong lines It can be crisscross, it can be a straight line, it can be a flat line, it can be diagonal lines. Apart from that, you can use geometric figures in it and then use a filling and also another uh, lines in combination with it. So even if you have taken a deity motive or a peacock motive or probably a lotus, you can still fill it beautifully with lines. Okay. So how do you what is the second thing that you can differentiate is by a double line border. So always the outline of these folk paintings are done with black. So, okay, the color black is used as a border outline, and there is always a double lining. So the borders are very thick, very prominent, and then the other additional colors are filled within it. So the first step in Madhubani is you have chosen a motive. You can either trace it or you can just go for freehand, depending on your comfort level. The first thing you would do is fill up the outline. Black outline is most mandatory, and then you start filling in the colors, and then you go the lines filling very minutely. So moving to the color concept of Mithila painting. So in the color concept, how are these colors obtained? I was mentioning that we make use of natural dyes and pigments only. So this was in the earlier days, but whereas now we use any medium of paints because always extracting the colors from natural dyes becomes a tedious job and a time taking process. So that's the reason we tend to avoid. And moreover, we have all the tools and materials these days like brush and um, of various sizes also. Whereas in previous years, all they used was a twig. So जो अपना डंडा होता है, stem होता है, कोई पेड़ का, that is being used. So the stem is very finely sharp so that the edges and the tip becomes as good as your your writing ink pen. So it becomes that fine, and in that also they can do variations. So depending on the thickness, they want the border line, the fineness depending on how much they want to fill inside the motive. So they will sharpen it and they will make a difference out. So how are the colors obtained? So the lamp soot, after burning the lamp, you get black color. Then white is usually obtained from rice flour. And green is obtained from leaves of the wood. Uh, extraction process to get that perfect green color. So there are some moderns which are being used. There are pre-modern thing, post-modern thing techniques which are done, and then there are various types of uh, you know extraction process also. All the leaves are boiled together first, and then the color is extracted. It is separated and again boiled so that we get the finest of the green that we have chosen to fill in our Madhubani. And blue, it's obtained from seeds of cycod. Then indigo plant is available, so from there we get our blue directly. And yellow is drawn from singar flowers, or even you can make use of sandalwoods also. If you want that specific yellowish orange shade, then jasmine flower से भी हम लोगों को yellow color obtain हो सकता है. Then saffron is something which we obtain from people tree, from the bark of people tree. Then red is usually obtained from the kusum flower and red sandalwood. And to make the painting last long, we apply turpentine coat or finishing coat out there. So, but in the previous, they don't have access to so many. So they use guar gum as in little portion, and they mixed it with water to a certain level, boiled it, and then they made a finishing coat texture out of it. So once the painting is done, though it is on wall or it is a piece of once a painting done on fabric. So the colors in the painting are applied usually flat, and the figures will be rendered with double outlines. So like I mentioned, double lining or the black outline is very important over here. So whenever you are applying the borders, you have to be very careful, and you have to be very specific with the amount of thickness of the nib you have chosen. Okay, so in the present times, you can use brushes which are of least numbering. I could even suggest you a 000, a 00, or size 1. So then this is the color, basic color concept of them. And like I've said, cross hatching or slanting lines can be used. So it has to be a line no matter in what form it is. Next is what are the various types of articles that are developed in Madhubani? Uh, Madhubani or Mithila painting have become so common now, and people have started to recognize it. So the articles that you see are not just wall paintings and your canvas painting or anything. You can find it across many accessories, starting from your dupattas, saris, bags. Apart from that, your accessories on handbags, your mobile covers, pen holders, so bodies of female garments. Probably kurti is taken only the neckline is beautifully highlighted with Madhubani painting. So it has become very popular, and the blends of these regional colors and theme, is what has given Madhubani a new dimension altogether, I can say. So now it is high time that we realize the importance of these folk paintings that are present across our nations. Not just Madhubani, there are many other traditional paintings which I'll take you through in a moment. We have to start promoting them. We have to start using them, and we have to encourage the artist by either purchasing it or either by acknowledging the hard work and the efforts that they have put into. So this is what I had to say in the article section, that promoting and emphasizing the skillful art with organic colors and the legacy of without using any brush should continue forever. So I will take you across some Madhubani paintings over here. Over here. So the human figure, the tree of life, and everything. So if you very carefully observe on the women's ghagra, if you see, it's yellow and just red polka dots. Whereas on the upper bodies, you can see fine lines being covered up over here. Like I said, fish is the most common motif which is being used. You'll be able to notice that the black outlines, the double line border, which I was mentioning in my presentation, is very evident across these paintings. Colors are very soothing. Madhubani uses a lot of bold colors, I can say, unlike other traditional folk. Like I could compare this to kalamkari. Kalamkari will never have bright shades. They will just have the darker tones, I can say, and you will find maroon, ochre, and these shades over there. Whereas in Madhubani, it's very bold. So uh, using yellow, the brightest green, you can go ahead with this. And here's another Radha Krishna form. You can see how crisscross lines are being given across Krishna's garland, even on the neck peaks and everything. Whereas Radha's ghagra and this is highlighted just with bold colors and a plain filling within it. So the eyelashes, if you see, also are highlighted in the Madhubani technique itself, just with plain lines. Madhubani has got to do only and only with lines. You can fill it with any form of lines and bold shades in combination. So, please give me a moment. I will share the greeting card that I have made based on the Madhubani concept. So, in the greeting card, you will be able to see that I have used the Madhubani borders just to highlight. So, it's a seasonal greeting card, so you can just keep it blank and then give it to anybody. So, they, if you want, you can sell them also. So, give me a minute. Please let me know if my screen is visible. I will be playing a video of how the greeting card was made. Is my screen visible? The video. So here's a handmade greeting card, and I have done an art string on it. So the art string basically has one single thread which emerges from one point, and you can cover it with the entire motif. So that's the string art that I have made over here. Give me a minute.
Ma'am, can you show us that thread thing, small one? How to do?
So that was a very simple Madhubani border, which was being used as a contemporary art on greeting cards. So I will also give you a live demonstration in a moment on the further Madhubani art that can be done on borders, that can be done on fabric paints as well as on cardboard sheets. So give me a minute. I'll just move my setup. And before I start my live demonstration, I would like to take this as an opportunity to, share some of the famous artists who have received uh, Padma Shri, that is Padma Shri Award. Jagadamba Shrimati recognized. She also received a Padma Shri Award. So apart from these designers, apart from these artists, we also have certain designers who are taking this folk art to the next level. So in the year 2017, when there was a Lakme Fashion Week, it was for the winter as well as for the festive season. We had a designer called as Neha Agarwal. She presented a very fascinating women wear collection. Her clothes really had a very bold look in the range of contemporary evening wears, which were inspired by Madhubani art. So artworks which were inspired by ancient forms of embroidery. ancient forms of Madhubani were brought to life by hand embroidery. So she got inspired with Madhubani and then converted them into hand embroidery. So this technique was derived from the very old weaving technique which was called from Utku. Uttu करके बोलते हैं उसको. So from there she derived this, converting a Madhubani painting into an embroidery. So isn't this a very thoughtful idea? So for all the amateur designers, please give a thought that not just Madhubani, which has been already experiment. I hope you take up many more folk arts and traditional paintings and you know display it or express it in your own creative and innovative manner. Give me a minute. I just set up my live demonstration.
Ma'am, can you show me that thread thing?
Uh, Hi. The string art was just as an addition. So I think today I am focusing more on Madhubani. So I wanted to add an element in the greeting card apart from Madhubani. So in a contemporary manner, I use the string art. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So here's the greeting card which I had made. It starts from one particular point, like I told you, from here, and it connects and joins everything. So this was just as an adornment I had done to add to my Madhubani painting.
Okay.
You might have noticed that during my video, I had made use of pens. So I basically use these special kind of pens called as graphic luxure pens. So these come in set of various colors. So these are the various color ranges. And since it was a greeting card, I made use of these pens. But traditionally, uh, we make use of these brushes. The sizes that today I'm going to use are 000 and 1. So the highest I would recommend is not more than 1 or the size 2. So 1 gives you a very neat detailing, whereas your 000 is for the finest of the lines you want to make, and 00 is also for the filling, and 1 is for your borders. So if you want a fine borders, you can also drop down the sizes. There is no such mandate rule.
Ma'am, you're frozen.
No. Now, so here I have a white fabric over here on which I have got my motifs ready. I'm using a frame over here. Ideally, it is not advisable, but I'm using here to get the fineness, the clarity, because doing it directly on the fabric, give me a minute. Yeah. Also, I have seen many of them getting confused or correlating Madhubani and Kalamkari. Uh, People tend to consider Madhubani itself as
Ma'am,
Kalamkari
can you
and
speak loud?
Kalamkari also as Madhubani. Okay. So my fabric is very tight enough. And even before you start painting on any kind of fabric, I would suggest that you soak the fabric for about 12 hours of minimum, and then do not dry it in direct sunlight. Use a shade to dry it. Even after completing the painting, make sure that you are drying your painting in shade and never directly exposing it to sun. Using a 00 brush.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but your screen is not visible.
Uh, okay. Can you just
Ma'am, can you please speak louder?
sure, sure. I will. The screen is visible. I think you need to pin on my name.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So today I'm making use of acrylic paints. Students, if you feel that my voice is not visible, could you please change your settings to speaker mode? I think there is an auto setting in Microsoft Teams that it goes into device mode. So please check. All right. So I have a triangle, I have a lotus motif over here, I have a circle filling, and I have another variety of lotus, which I'll be showing you how to do the filling.
Ma'am, can you take your word that in left side because I cannot see it.
Okay, 1 minute. Give me a minute. Is it still not visible or
No, ma'am, still not because you're taking in right only.
okay? What about now? Is this
No,
okay?
ma'am, it's looking half. Half.
To the frame. Uh, I think to frame. That is the reason you're finding a lot of troublesome. Else, we are also having another viewer on the side who is checking continuously. Change your settings, pin on the screen, and change it to fit to frame. Please do that option because we are also side by cross checking it. You can see here it's very clear. So, like I was advising, that before you start painting, make sure you soak the fabric for about 12 hours minimum and then dry it in shade completely. Post that, even even you can post painting, you can dry your painting in the shade itself. It is never advisable to directly expose your painting right after it is done to sunlight. And today, for stiffness, I am using this embroidery hoop over here so that it'll be easy for me to handle the fabric. There might be a chance that the fabric is not taking in enough amount of paint into it. So in such a case, there's a small hack. You can uh, turn the fabric reverse side and iron it. So doing this will help you to relax the yarns, and the paint will be absorbed on the fabric very easily. Like you can see, the embroidery hoop is also me, as do not use a lot of water, as the paint will start smudging in. This is the first kind of border filling that I am showing you today. All right, here's a triangle. Okay, I'm leaving certain empty places in between because I'm planning to fill it with other colors. So I'm just giving a light space. So now I'm going to use another variety. So this was one triangle filling I showed you. Okay. Fill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some slanting lines like these. Okay. And now I'm going to change the direction. Okay, so I've highlighted this, and after this, I'm going to okay. I'm going to start changing the direction now, if you can notice. Most of you can even relate this to your Zentangle art, right? So, what you call as doodling, I can say. Okay. Now here again, I'm going to change the direction. I'm forming semicircles over here. So this is another abstract way of filling. So now I'm going to use another 000 brush over here. Okay. I'm going to show you how to do the circle filling over here.